So Major League Baseball set another record in 2024 for league revenues. So from 2016 to 2022, baseball was in the 10 to 11 billion dollar range. 2023 there's a nice big jump to 11.6 billion, and in 2024 they reached 12.1 billion in annual revenue. A lot of that was attendance increases because they feel like the rule changes are bringing people back to the game because it's shortening the games. Um, it doesn't include all the other kind of like ballpark related revenues, entertainment things and leases and stuff like that. Like, it doesn't include that. This is just like baseball revenue.
Yep.
But record year, record attendance, printing money. Um, people talk about baseball dying, and year after year, they've proven they are not. They are still the biggest league in sports.
I mean, when does that bubble break, though?
2026 when the CBA comes up.
Right. I was gonna say. I mean, there was a question back here earlier about the Dodgers and spending money. Like we've been kind of talking about that on and off all off season. And is it good for the game? Is it, not good for the game? Like, how do we view it? Well, it's all kind of tied together because if these contracts and the money just keeps going through the roof at this exponential rate, there is going to be a point where fans are like, oh, I can't go to the games anymore. Like I can't afford it. I just can't.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then the bubble breaks or bursts,
Yeah.
whatever metaphor you want to use.
Yeah. And there's a comment in the chat earlier about the Dodgers, and Hal Steinbrenner came out yesterday and basically said it's difficult for even the Yankees to spend at that level.
Right.
The Dodgers right now, their 2025 luxury tax payroll is right around 390 million, and they've got 450 million dollars in guaranteed contracts on the books for this season. Um, I mean, that's as we went through the revenue last year, like or the revenues for teams from last year. That's more than the revenue of 2/3 of the league.
Yeah, it was 19 teams, I think it was, we
Yeah.
counted.
And now they're up at almost 400 million, probably a few more teams on it. But you figure if the Dodgers payroll is more than the revenue of 2/3 of the teams in the league, there is, nobody's going to spend like that. And, like Steinbrenner said, we'll see if it pays off. Like they still have to go out and win games, not get hurt. So the Yankees many years were the largest spender in the league and they didn't win because, spending in baseball is not a guarantee of winning. It just exponentially increases your chances as you keep going up the rung because you've got better talent, more depth. I mean, you look at that Dodgers roster top to bottom, probably the best starting rotation in baseball, probably the best bullpen in baseball, probably the best lineup in baseball. Um, when you can check all those boxes, are you guaranteed to win? No, but you're in a really good spot to have a ridiculously good season and then steamroll teams in the playoffs. But
Right.
you still have to go out and do it.
Yeah. But the law of averages, the
Yeah,
averages will favor in your direction if you spend more money to get the top tier guys. Like that's
yeah.
just how it is.
So the Dodgers are at 390 million, the Phillies are at 308, the Yankees are at 303, and the actual luxury tax cap, I believe, is at 301. Um, and so when you look at the fines that they're going to pay, I mean, the Dodgers are going to be, 450 guaranteed, 390 in luxury tax, plus they're going to be $500
Yeah.
million. I mean, there's nobody else in the league that can do that. Even the Yankees can't do that. I mean, they're at 300 million. They're tapped out.
Yeah. Well, and we talked about the owner of the Baltimore Orioles. Like I work with a guy that is a huge Orioles fan and he's frustrated as hell because they're not spending. It's like, well, he can't. Like
Yeah,
he doesn't have the revenue to turn it around and put it into payroll. Like, and we keep talking. Like, you're not going to put your own money into a team if you're not going to see it back. And
right.
it's just not good business to do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, a Major League Baseball team is not welfare. Like you don't spend $4 billion on a team to then put several $100 million a year of your own personal money into it.
Unless
You
you're Steve Cohen.
Unless you're Steve Cohen, in which case, what he puts into the team, he's going to make in the first 3 months of the year anyways through his hedge
Right.
fund. So whatever. Um, but like you don't buy a team to then go pour more money to keep the team operating into it. Like it makes no sense. You don't start a business so you can lose money on it. You start a business to make money on it. And that's what these guys are trying to do. Like they're trying to play within the money that they have.
Right.
But when the Dodgers are up at 450 plus, there's nobody that can do that
No.
because you still have to operate the organization.
Yeah. And we've talked about that argument. It's like, oh, well, your team could do that too.
No, they
No,
can't.
no, they can't.
You know,
They
you
can't.
don't become a billionaire by just throwing money around, by just like burning money. And look at Steve Cohen. He went all in and had to quickly backpedal and tear it down. And he wrote all the checks to clear the books, but he's not going to do that again.
No.
Like, you get burned once, you're gonna step back and reevaluate what you're doing. And they've done that this year. Obviously the Juan Soto deal's huge, but they've been pretty frugal otherwise.
Yes. Absolutely.